But then again, there has been fantastic financial changes since I became involved in the club in 1970, involved as an officer, and the present day. For instance, in 1970-71 at our AGM, we would have had a turnover in our club of something in the order of £800.
Yeah.
That was the year, if you remember, when our Gold Watch tournament got underway.
Right.
And
yeah.
it was a fantastic step forward financially and football-wise at that particular time. While in the current year, or the year 1984, now we had a turnover in excess of 240,000.
Yeah, big difference.
So we're operating certainly at a different level.
Yeah.
But even we can make the same comparison between the 1930s and the early 70s, as you may have noticed in the booklet that we published the last day you were here in 1983. There were a few extracts there from the minute book of 1929-30.
Yeah.
And there you can see financial reports of £3.12 and sixpence and £4.17 and sixpence.
Right.
And it certainly puts the whole situation of clubs and Gaelic clubs in rural parishes into perspective.
Yeah.
Then they had collections of twopence per member and maybe a penny per player to get football and to get jerseys and this type of thing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't easy for them at that particular time.
Yeah.
So so be it.
Right. You told me sometime before, it was probably on a sadder note, that the commencement of work on the building here, it brought a sad memory to you in a sense. You lost your father. He was a great admirer of the game, of course, himself.
Well, he certainly enjoyed football, and he played football at club level for a number of years.
Yeah.
And he certainly had a great interest in what we're trying to do here at the club, even though he wasn't actively involved, being a trustee of the club at that particular stage. And not only, in fact, he was buried 2 days before we started on the foundations here in 1983, and I suppose we will always remember that particular time because of that. But when you mention him, you will always you're automatically mentioning other people from the 1920s and 30s.
Yes.
And we've lost a lot of them during the 70s.
Yeah.
Men like Paddy Sheridan, Killincare, George Sheridan's father, Jimmy Rowe, a neighbour of our own, and people like that who had a fantastic commitment to the club, both on and off the field. And they were, I suppose, to a certain extent amazed that we had undertaken this project here, but certainly never discouraged us in any way. Yeah. And I think they were with us psychologically anyway, and they certainly were with us in spirit.
Yeah. John, just going back there, John Lynch down the road, some weeks ago he told me about listening to the 1947 All-Ireland final over in Jerry Clark's. He said he was one of the people in the area that had a radio then.
Well, I certainly don't remember that.
I was going to.
But
I thought we might find out. Right.
Radios were scarce in the countryside here as well, as you notice, the time before rural electrification and that type of thing. And it's interesting that you mentioned that point, because it certainly puts the whole rural situation into perspective.
Yeah.
The fact that that type of facility wasn't available to people. It was certainly a novelty to listen to a match from Croke Park, as it was certainly a novelty to listen to it from New York. And this is why that what we have done now, it may be seen as a fantastic achievement, and we think it is, and we're proud to have been part of it, let me say so. But at the same time, our fathers in the 30s, 40s and 50s, in their own way, achieved a considerable amount for the game of football as well, and for rural activities in their parishes at the time.
Yeah. You would expect future generations, and indeed youngsters now, to utilise this building and grounds.
We certainly would hope so. And it would be the one wish of the present committee, particularly the committee now who are involved in developing this, that they would use it to the full. It would be equally our wish, and a more profound wish, that they would respect it to the full.
Yeah.
And that they would not necessarily recognise the efforts of the committee in these years, but to recognise the commitment that all our supporters and our patrons gave to this by way of finance and work and that type of thing.
Yeah.
And we would hope that the younger generations growing up now, we have them here, they come here, they enjoy being here, they enjoy doing jobs around the place, and we will be looking to them to take charge in a few years' time, so that we can hand over the running of this place. And it will be a considerable task to run it from day to day once the capital expenditure has been dealt with.
Yeah.
We are talking about, as you will appreciate, a sizable development here. It will be in the order of 450,000 when it's completed.
Yeah.
And that carries with it its responsibilities.
Yeah.
The fact that the capital situation will be dealt with by the end of this year isn't sufficient reason to sit back and be complacent about it. The running costs from year to year are going to be considerable. The maintenance will be considerable, and this is where we will be looking to the next generation, the youngsters growing up now, to row in with us as soon as possible, so that we can sit back. I'm not suggesting that we are going to disengage from being involved in the club. I couldn't imagine any of the present officers or committee doing that in the near future anyway. But time passes and we have to look to the youngsters coming up, and we will be keenly interested in who's going to settle in the parish in the next few years. We hope that emigration doesn't take its toll as it's threatening to do at the moment. And if this type of development helps to stem that, it will be worthwhile as well.
Indeed, yeah. It doesn't sound very fair that I should ask you were there ever any tiffs or arguments at the meetings. Even if there were, what about funny pieces?
Well, there would be certainly many funny pieces. If I can just... most of the funny pieces would be about trivial things. If we were organising our annual dinner dance or aspects of the Jamboree, we often would spend an hour and a half, debating some rather trivial thing as to which way we'd arrange tables, or what person would get what rather trivial job. That type of thing. That's where most of the humour would come in. And for instance, at last year's Jamboree, and it's with some sadness that we'll remember a number of funny incidents, and it concerned, I suppose, Christy McCormick on one hand, and the late Pat Fitzsimons, whom you knew well and whom we lost regrettably this year, in organising aspects of the Jamboree. Christy was in charge of the pony show and very capably and ably looked after it, and Pat was in charge of the driving arrangements, the gigs and the other driving, the harness events as well. And it was a continuous, I will mention the word battle between the two to get the best rosettes, or to get the best amplification for the Sunday, or to get the best stewards as they saw them to look after their event. And I think that the exchanges between both Christy and Pat kept us going last year enormously, and it was really funny for us. Other people used to realise what we would be arguing or laughing about outside when the thing was falling into place, as it fell in place very well last year. But sadly, as I would say, we missed Pat Fitzsimons. This happens. The passing of time causes this, and we can't do anything about it.
You are one of the instigators of the Jamboree. What does it mean now?
At the moment, I think it's a major social event for us who organise it and to take charge, and certainly it's a social event for the surrounding parishes and indeed this part of the county. The financial aspect of it is still very important, but from the beginnings, 10 years ago this year, this will be our 10th Jamboree. I think you already have mentioned that. When we think back on some of the arrangements we made in the first few years, in situations like the type of marquees we got, the fact that we had a marquee the first year and no floor in one of them, that type of thing. If we went to explain that to some of the youngsters now who weren't involved then, they just wouldn't believe us. The fact that our generator went out of action and we had to close down on a Sunday night and hundreds of people here, that type of thing really brings it home to us, the learning process that we went through in running this type of event. But I feel in the last 4 or 5 years we've got it reasonably right. Although problems still crop up. But the problems crop up now, but no one notices them cropping up, and they're solved, and no one seldom realises that there had been a problem.
Yeah.
And we've learned to carry on as if the problem didn't exist and keep a good face. In the first few years we would panic, I think, a little anyway, and all hell could break loose. But I think that day is gone. Like we take it in our stride now.
And you love it all.
We certainly do. We look forward to this weekend every year, and the old folks' party is very important to us. The Jamboree tea party is probably the most socially acceptable event in the whole programme. We love to get a band for our main dances that appeals to the youngsters. We have Bagatelle here this year, and that means a lot to us because we know that they are going to really enjoy it, and we know that they will say that was a fantastic night in Kilmacare this year, and that's what it means to us. We like to feel that people will be talking about the Jamboree for 2 or 3 months afterwards, and then by Christmas we're into meetings again, wondering what we'll try and organise for the next year, and so the process goes on. So that's important to us.
Thank you very much. Chairman, representatives on the committee, what do you think of the whole thing now after 10 years, John Joe?
Well, there certainly have been big changes in 10 years. I'm not involved all that many years with the club. It's only more or less since the building started that I got involved with it. And between Jerry Clark and Edward Lynch and myself and a few more, it took the building from stage to stage sort of thing. So there certainly have been an awful lot of big changes now in the years that I have been here.
Yeah, did you ever feel that there was a stage that this thing might never be finished?
No, we never felt that. At times, all right, you'd have some doubts, all right, as to whether you were doing the thing right or maybe going too high on that, but never that it'll be completely finished, no.
What about funny pieces? Was there anything funny that you could remember?
Oh, so there's been that many funny pieces that it's just hard to pick out one in particular.
Yeah.
None that come to mind now at the moment. Anyway.
Do you enjoy working with the committee?
Oh, very much so, yes. Very much so. The committee we have, both development committee, Jamboree committee and all, everybody works together, and all right, we do have our arguments and disagreements, all right, but we sort the whole lot out in the end anyway.
Yeah. You'd be the first to say like that everybody pulled us, never fellas say lagging back. You get that, I suppose.
You do, all right. In some things, all right, people just aren't as good maybe as in other things, but everybody is in their own field, and everybody pulls their weight in something or other, you know.
Yeah. There's a saying that goes now, John Joe, that there are a great deal of new parks and new buildings and maybe not so many good footballers. Would you have any comment to make on that?
I don't know, you have the parks all right, but I think the football is still there all right. Maybe in some cases all right, you don't have the commitment that you think you should have. But through time I'd say it'll come round again all right.
Yeah.
Once you have the facilities there, you have to have the footballers, and footballers will give a commitment, I'd say, through time.
And you'll be there?
Oh, well, we hope to be, yeah.
Right to be, John. They say that it takes one good GA man to know another. At this stage, we're going to change, and I'm handing you over now to Jimmy Fitzsimons, and he's going to have a word with a Tipperary man, adopted Tipperary man up in the heart of Kilmacare. Right, Jimmy?
Okay, Michael, thanks. Hello, well this is Christy McCormick here, better known possibly in hurling circles. Christy, what have you to do with the Kilmacare Jamboree?
Well, I'm on a committee here, and I'm involved with pony shows here and various things in the Jamboree for the 4 days.
Right. Tell me this, how many pony shows or how many classes of pony do you show tomorrow?
There's 7 classes in showing, and there's 7 in jumping, right from tiny tots right up to a hunter's class.
Yes, and you have prizes for them all, I'm sure.
Prizes for everyone, and rosettes.
Okay. I suppose the weather tomorrow, Christy, will be a big factor, will it?
The weather will play a major part in any outdoor event, no matter what it is. And we hope tomorrow is a good day, because last year here in Killincare that we had very good weather, and it was a great success, the pony show and all the events.
Yeah.
And tomorrow we also have a vintage show, which is something new, and we hope that the people of Cavan and the surrounding areas will come to look at the old, back in the 20s and 30s, and see what the machinery was like on them occasions that time, because we have a very good show coming from Market Hill in County Armagh tomorrow, and it is going to be a great day, I hope, for Killincare and the people of Cavan.
Christy, there's a man missing tomorrow who was with you last year and all down through the years, the late Pat Fitzsimons.
There is. Pat was a great man for Killincare Club. He done a lot, especially in the ponies, and he's a big miss, not tomorrow but for the whole year. And the club misses him very much, and there's not a meeting but his name comes up. And I know that I often didn't agree with everything Pat said or did, but I'd be one of the first to congratulate him on the work he did for the club. And if we had 10 or 12 more Pat Fitzsimons along the few we have, I think we'd be one of the best 9 Cavan behind Ireland.
Okay then, Christy, we'll leave it at that then. So, and I wish you the very best of luck tomorrow. I hope you have a fine day.
Thanks, Gilly.
Besides the pony show and the pony activity tomorrow, Christy, you also play a big part in the hurling in this county. You're chairman of the county board, and also try to keep it going here in Killincare.
Yes, Jimmy. Some 5 years ago I was asked to do something for hurling in Cavan, and well, we had good success in the years. For the past 4 years, we won 2 Ulster Championships, we won a National League and a Special Minor All-Ireland, which is a great thing for the young lads of Cavan. And on that team, they were all Cavan-born chaps that has won that, and we hope that them same fellas in a couple of years' time will be playing senior hurling for Cavan. And it's a great thing to see the young fellas, but I'm disappointed that there's not more clubs in the county taking part and doing something for hurling, because after all, hurling is one of the finest games and a skillful game, and I think all young fellas should learn the game of hurling. I think all young fellas should learn the game of hurling, and to be great. Hurling and football can go well together in any county. You take Cork, Dublin. I know they're all big cities, but still, if you're able to play one game, you're able to play them all.
Right. Well, if there's any place hurling will flourish, it will be in Killincare, because they certainly, anything they take on to do, they really do a good job.
Well, that's right, Jimmy, but I'm disappointed at the moment. The club has given us every 100%. They're 100% behind the hurlers, but there's not enough of people out of the club in Killincare playing the game. We have to go to Balladuff and Munchaconocht and other clubs to help us. But I hope that the players out of the club, Killincare club, will in the next couple of years do more, and maybe, who knows, we could win we're not able to win a championship at the moment in football. I hope we win it in hurling.
Right. Well, between hurling and ponies, Christy, there must have been some good sketches or some very funny incident maybe that happened to you along the way that you could maybe tell us now.
Well, there was a lot of ups and downs in both games, in ponies and in hurling. Going back to last year's Jamboree, and you mentioned the man tonight there, Pat Fitzsimons. I remember Pat saying last year, well, I have to go over to Balladuff and don't tell Christy where I'm going. And I heard it after that he went over to Balladuff for the donkey derby, and he brought over the donkey, and when he came over there was no donkey derby. And I'd say Pat was disappointed.
Well, I'm sure he was.
He was. I'd say if there's any pony racing or pony shows where Pat is up above now, I'd say he'd be a chief organiser.
I'm sure he will. Yeah. Okay then, Christy. That's all I have to say for you for the moment. We hope to see you through the course of the day tomorrow, and maybe we'll have a chat with you tomorrow when